Hi guys, welcome to the third episode of Brown Syndrome. I'm Mehek.
I'm UV.
And I'm Arth. And before we get into what the conversation that we have planned for today, the incident that happened with George Floyd on Monday is obviously horrific, and our utmost sympathies are with his family. But it led to a wave of cognizance amongst us urban youths about white supremacy and racial discrimination on the basis of color, which is appreciated, of course, but regardless of it being about clout or not. But while we may continue to believe that this as a social issue in a way is unrelated to us, we and everything may be copacetic in our minds, but we also live in a country where the range of skin color is significant, which is evident in the podcast itself, which ultimately begs the question, are we really that far off from discrimination on the basis of color in our country?
And so this leads to today's topic, which is colorism. But before I get into that, I want to make a difference. I want to clear out the difference between racial discrimination and colorism. So, racial discrimination, the concept is basically prejudice, discrimination, or just ill treatment of people based on caste, creed, several factors. And colorism is more specific, it's more focused, and it's discrimination against people based on their color. So it doesn't
And they may
necessarily,
be from the same race.
yeah, and it doesn't necessarily extend to just being called kala in your classroom. And kala means black for those who don't know. It goes far beyond that. So, like, what do you guys think about colorism?
You go ahead.
I think as a society, we've been conditioned and we've been told that, hey, you have to be obsessed with being white. Like, I think the difference between when we're talking about like a Western society and Indian society is that at least like they recognize the difference that Caucasian and African American, but in India we don't have those differences because like as you can see in our podcast as well that I'm a different shade of brown and Earth is a different shade of brown and Mehak is a different shade of skin tone or whatever. And it's just that ever since you've been like you've been kid, you've been told that you need to be white, and there's always been an obsession. And the difference is that here we don't understand that difference and the difference of okay of accepting different skin tones and different skin colors or whatever. But there they do. Oh, granted, they still have racism there and here too, but here there's an obsession. Like it's crazy in my opinion. And there's a lot of examples, and I'm pretty sure that on a daily basis, a lot of the audience that is hearing this, I'm sure that they've seen or they've participated or been victim to such obsessiveness with whiteness, with fairness, and it's just horrific to be honest.
Uh, what I believe, I don't think that it is as severe as it is in Caucasian dominated countries, but that regardless, that it's still something that that should be spoken about, and it isn't as much as it should have. So that's what I believe. And to move on from this, I think the most blatant form of colorism that exists in our country is in the form of the cosmetic industry that we have. Like,
Yeah,
for example, the whole, I mean, it is been spoken about, the whole Fair and Lovely ads and the whole Fair and Handsome ads. And
those are just disgusting. Those are just
it's,
disgusting to be honest.
like, to have, like, if I have to explain it, what, I get that ads have been banned by the government with that show Fair and Lovely ads in which they're showing racial discrimination. But
I
But it
think you
regardless
took a
of,
should
lot
talk
of
about.
time
I
for
think you
them.
should talk about the ad. What happens in the ad?
so
Yeah,
okay, so before 2014, before the law was passed, there used to be ads where there used to be a dark skinned boy or a dark skinned girl who, for example, didn't have many friends. They would depict as if they were not appreciated by persons of the other gender. And the moment they would start using this Fair and Lovely or the Fair and Handsome cream, there suddenly their skin color would change and everybody would automatically be attracted to them, like an Axe ad, like an ad for Axe, but for skin color for
yeah,
some
but with
reason.
the skin color, yeah.
Yeah, which is like, I would watch it and I didn't pay attention to it as much when I was younger. But when you grow up and you understand, you know what, they're making fun of me, right? They're making fun
Yeah.
of me as like my skin color, which I should not be tolerating it, but there is nothing that I can do about it.
And
Yeah.
like for all,
I think one of the reasons for that is that like in India people play off like black jokes as just like humor, and there's
But
always a line
let's get to
there's
that
always a
eventually. Let's
certain
talk about the
line.
cosmetic industry for now.
yeah, so for
Yeah, makes
example,
sense.
like I remember like not just one, but quite a few of my maids were actually using this Fair and Lovely product. And
Me too, me
actually,
too, me too, me too.
yeah, so like because obviously they don't they think all of this works, right? You see an ad that looks good and you immediately just want to go and buy. I mean, it happens with us also, but the only thing is we have more knowledge compared to them, right? But what they don't understand
Yeah,
is that all these products, they contain chemical toxins, they contain mercury, which can cause permanent pigmentation on the skin.
And you know what? And I think a reason why they're swayed so easily is because the Bollywood industry is so
Yeah.
heavily
exactly.
invested
Yeah.
in it. Like not
Yeah.
only Shah Rukh Khan, but like
I
for
remember
example,
Varun Dhawan as well.
but if you think about like prominent dark skinned actors, like I would say the first woman, like Kajol was dark skinned in what was it, in Dilwale Dulhania Le Jayenge. She was dark skinned, and if you see her evolution as an actress, you would see
Yeah,
she worked in ads for Olay and Fair and Lovely, where she became. And then if you see the later half, like in mid 2000s, if you see her movies, there's such an evident shift in
it's
her
like
skin color.
it's like her success increased with her whiteness. Like
Yeah.
she
I
was
know,
like dark, and then
but that's what
suddenly because she was becoming
happens.
fair. And
That's what happens in the Bollywood industry as well. When people ask for ads and when people want certain, say, teenagers, boys or girls, whatever, for their advertisements, they actually
yeah,
ask for girls who are fair, for boys who are fair. That's one of the major criteria that they have
yeah,
to cast them into
yeah,
a movie. Also, I'm sure like even actors face all of this. There's something called skin lightening treatment that a lot of actors
Yeah.
undergo. So that's what, like, it's just
If I
disgusting.
can, you can count actors who are dark skinned on your fingers. I mean, who actually been
yeah.
successful in the industry and have a like Ajay Devgan I can
Like a
think of,
reputation.
and Vicky Kaushal probably. But those two are the only
Yeah,
people I
but
can think of.
they're more like light brown rather than dark skin, to be honest.
If
And
you
like
look at their older again, if you look at their older movies, Ajay Devgan in his
yeah,
older movies, early 2000s, he was
mm,
he was dark skinned like I was, like dark skinned he was, and then again,
yeah.
eventually he also transitioned into
So
becoming
it's like it's directly proportional, bro. Success equals to your fairness. And like talking about that, we're talking about like people who are dark skinned and actors. So there's an actor in the south of India called Rajnikant, and he is considered a god. Like there are literally temples for Rajnikant, for this actor. But he's dark skinned too. And it's funny to me because I remember watching one of his movies. I think the movie is called The Boss or something. I don't know. And to seduce a girl, the girl told him that you're too black. I don't want you. And him being dark skinned in the movie, he literally he fucking turns himself into white with all that fair and handsome and all those treatments and drinks special tea and all that stuff just to get white. And I'm like, dude, you're like a South Indian actor who is literally considered a god,
he has
and
nothing
you're
to prove. He has
yeah,
nothing to achieve. He's achieved the
exactly,
pinnacle of success in his industry, and he
bro.
still
Ninety
has an
percent,
incessant
ninety
need to
nine
be.
percent of his fan base, they are from the South, which are particularly dark skinned. So he just told them that you will never get a girl unless you're black, or like
Unless
not
you're white.
black but dark skinned. Yeah, exactly. And I'm just like, what the hell, bro? How do you come like what is the thought process that goes behind it? Like when you were reading the fucking script, didn't you once stop and think that okay, this is extremely colorist or racist, or how do you not notice that?
I think it's just subconscious as a fact. And I think if you think about just racism in general, about how right now we're talking about white supremacy and how people are
Yeah.
discriminating against African heritage or African genes, right? So you want you to tell me something about some
Oh
Nigerian
yeah,
person
this
who
was this was really interesting. Like considering we were talking about this topic, I wanted to do some research and everything, and it was so strange to me because I had never heard about this, and I never heard about this in the media. I've never seen this catch any national attention. The first thing I did, I racism in India. That's the first thing I put. And I see at least 10 headlines with just like how some African students in Delhi or Noida were attacked by a lot of people, were mobbed just solely based on the fact that they were African and they were black, and like the people in Noida considered them to be like slaves, and they didn't deserve to be studying there with them. And I was just in shock because I couldn't even believe the headline, and I'm sure that y'all might not too, and y'all are free to search upon it. But it's just something that it really shocked me that we have this saying in India. It's Atiti Deva Bhava. It means like guest is God. And like when somebody like some guest comes into your country and you're beating him up just based on the fact that he's African and he's supposed to be a slave is just it just blows my mind. And the word and the fact that there's a
it's
word
not only Nigerian, right? There was also like a Gambian incident, and
Gambian,
like
it's basically a lot of African countries. And also there's a word that exists called Afrophobia, like being afraid of African people.
just the existence of the word is so.
It blows my mind. How the fuck does it exist? Like, oh my, see, like, oh man, and it's not like they've done anything bad, you know. Like Islamophobia, I can understand why somebody can have some Islamophobia because like a lot of terrorist acts have been done in the name of Islam. But who the hell has done anything bad in the name of Africa? Like, it's fucked up, you know. And what do you think about all this, Mehak? Like,
I mean, I think it's just so stupid. I can't even get over this that you've told me. I didn't know all this existed. Afrophobia. I mean, what the hell is that? I mean, just saying it sounds so stupid.
It's so like
bro,
it's so like I
honestly, I
cannot
feel like if the
imagine.
world just goes like this, if the world just goes like this, humanity is doomed in like the next 20 years.
But
Okay, keep
like
your
I
hot takes to
wanted to
yourself.
talk about a survey that was carried out.
Oh yeah, so the Hindu, which is a newspaper in
Okay.
India, they conducted like a survey in Delhi, which, if not the biggest, is definitely top two amongst cities in the country, right? So they surveyed 599 people across six polling stations, okay, across Delhi, and so and they presented these people with with like three candidates, same person,
Yeah.
okay, same person, just like they modified the picture to be dark
Three
skin,
different
whitish, and
skin
light skin.
tones. Hmm.
Yeah, three different skin tones, and there was like a significant advantage, or like I won't say advantage, but like a significant number of voters preferred
A
voting
preference.
for the same campaign promises, the identical were promised,
Mm-hmm.
and people still, again, while we may think that we don't do it, it is just subconsciously drilled in our brains
Yeah.
that white the color white is supreme in a way. And I
Yeah.
was shocked because, again, it also said that people who are darker skinned did not necessarily agree with this, and people who are darker skinned tended to vote for a darker skinned candidate. But regardless of the fact, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I
So,
know that people who are lighter skinned do not necessarily have this prejudice in their mind, but subconsciously,
Yeah.
this is
I
wrong.
mean, this
Yeah.
leads me to another
I remember.
example. So,
Yeah. Go ahead.
so
Go ahead.
in a crayon set that we used to have when we were like kids, when we used to have art in school and all of that, the peach crayon is labeled skin, which is just so dumb, which is so stupid. And also, it's labeled skin. It's an Indian company. I don't remember the name right now, but I know it's an Indian company. It's labeled skin, the peach color,
Camel.
even I mean, maybe I'm not sure. The even though peach is not the most common color in India. Indians are
Yeah.
literally
Yeah.
called brown, and peach is labeled as skin. What are the kids supposed to
Just
think?
imagine. Just
And
imagine
the
tomorrow they
funniest thing
start
is the
naming
funniest
colors
thing
with
is
like on ethnicities, like Indian, like Ethiopian,
African. Oh.
African.
No, but the funniest thing is that when I heard about this, when I was 6, 7 in art class, I myself used to call it skin color,
So
and
exactly,
I
it's just
am
Yeah.
subconsciously drilling it in
way
your
off.
brain that just peach means skin. That's just,
Yeah.
I mean, it's horrible.
Yeah, but
But
like I honestly think that it's like a smaller issue compared to a lot of the bigger things that have
But then
happened. Like I
that's
remember
not the point, right? Like
But it's
what you
still
were saying about
happening,
some
right? This
passport
is
thing, right?
small. Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
So that
I
was
know that
another
it's
thing.
been
So,
subconsciously drilled into it,
so
but
if you,
there's
for
been like
example,
massive outcomes regarding it. Like I remember Arth was telling me something of some case with some lady
yeah.
or
So
something.
before we get to that, I just want to mention this small example. Whenever I
Yeah.
go, it might have happened with y'all also. Whenever I go to get my passport size photo clicked, I always see them editing it to make my skin lighter before they print it out. And
Bro, if
why?
they make
So
you
why
any
would
lighter, bro, like you can't see anything. You'll merge with the fucking background. How would they make you lighter?
that's not the point. The point is they are making the
Yeah, no,
skin
but I can see
light.
it.
And I don't think I'm the only one that it happens. So I think they do it all the time. Even in our ID cards for school.
I know. Like we know. Me and Arth know.
That's what I'm talking
No, but
about.
yeah,
Yeah.
but then so I think another thing is that for anyone that thinks, obviously this isn't as widespread and as severe as it is in the United States or it's just your Western European countries. But I read somewhere that there was a woman named Sumara Babi, okay, in 2016, and her husband and her husband's family burnt her alive because they wanted the boy to get remarried to a fairer lady. She was burnt alive.
Yeah.
Wait, like I
She
have
got
nothing
roasted.
to say. No, she in for real got roasted. Like I have nothing to say. Like people like United States, there's police brutality and you know how that is such a major part of thing. But over here,
Yeah.
there was no police involved. This was
Yeah,
just
it's
their
just
own
brutality by their own
family.
And I
people.
feel
Their
like this is just
own
one case that
family.
came into the spotlight. There must be so many things like this
I'm
happening.
sure.
I mean,
I'm
and
Yeah,
absolutely
it's so
of
sure.
course.
normal that
Of
when
course.
people go on these matrimonial sites and they talk about what they want in the girl, I think the first thing is that they want a fair bride, and that's so
This was actually
stupid.
so Washington University, an Indian student at Washington University did a law review. She wrote a paper on, you know, this specific topic, colorism in India, like 27 pages devoted to this. And they were like, so she was saying that how she conducted a Khudka survey and
Yeah.
42 out of 60 males, dark skinned or light skinned, regardless, okay, when they were writing
Mm.
things they want, things they find pretty in a man, okay, 42 out of 60 men wrote skin color as one of them, the lighter skin was prettier, and 30 out of 45 women picked lighter skin as. So it's like, even imagine darker skinned people wanting
Yeah.
lighter skin, like
No,
they're
but
they're
that's the
picking it,
ultimate goal for them, you know. It's the ultimate goal for them.
And
It's
that's
like
which
really
but it
light at the end
shouldn't
of the
be.
tunnel. Like I remember I was once obsessed with being white, but like now I'm not, luckily. Because I remember it's just mad, you know, the amount of focus people put on just being told that you need to be white
And
and
it's
all of
just
that
so
Not
stuff.
just
sad that, like I already said, like hardly any cases come out in the spotlight. Like even when I spoke about this peach crayon thing, one student from Bangalore National Law School or something, I'm not sure, he approached the district court against this whole thing for this whole thing, and he lost the case. And then he approached the state commission's court, and then I don't know what's going on now, but I know he did all of that.
Yeah.
But it's just so ignored because people are like, "What are you talking?" Like it's just so ignored throughout that it just becomes normal. Like you
Yeah.
said, Arth, you used to call
and
it skin color yourself.
and the thing is, like, I can get, but like right now people are arguing that, you know, people are standing up for something, but they didn't stand up for what happens in Kashmir, or they didn't open their mouths about what happens in CAA or NRC, the whole thing. Like I get that those right now may be more severe or more important things to talk about, or mm, action needs to be
Hmm.
taken on them more immediately, and I understand. But and I'm in no way I'm taking away the national spotlight from them. It very
Yeah.
well deserves. Police brutality in the United States, I read a tweet somewhere that said police brutality should not be condemned in the West, but then encouraged in our country. What happened in the Delhi riots not too long ago, 3-4 months ago,
Mm-hmm.
about the whole Delhi riots thing. I understand that, and I'm not trying to take away the spotlight from it at all, but I feel that this is also something that needs to be spoken about.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
I think what this colorism thing rang really deep inside me was when I watched this TV show called When They See Us with for anybody that's not watched it, it's a must watch for everybody. It's on Netflix. It's a 4 episodes only, and basically the show in short is how 6 kids aged from 14 to 16 were falsely imprisoned for raping a woman, which they hadn't. Okay, and they were coerced
Yeah.
into giving wrong statements, and it's a true story actually. And
Don't spoil.
eventually they were it's a true. Okay, so I'll not say aage kya hua tha, but so they were
It's
That's
not
fine.
meant
false.
to be watched like a drama. It is like a life story. It's not a
Irrespective,
drama.
I'll not reveal what the
Yeah, I
eventual
also want to
ending.
watch
So,
it.
but
Yeah,
they're
don't.
okay. So basically they're false in 1985 in Central Park. They were falsely prosecuted and they were sent to jail. So their prime of their lives, okay, they
Yeah.
spent in a prison cell for something they had nothing to do, only because they were either Hispanic or they were African American. And I think why it rang so hard with me was because I remember after my prelim got over, just before our boards, like a couple of weeks
Hmm.
before our boards, me and 3 of my friends decided that, before the boards start, let's go out one
I
day.
wasn't there.
Yeah. But so 3 of my friends, all 3 of my friends are also dark skinned like I am. So we went to Churchgate to get something to eat, just as a fun thing to do. Churchgate
Yeah.
is super far for everybody that doesn't know. Churchgate is like a farthest point
In
It's
of
South
south of
Bombay.
Bombay.
Okay,
Mumbai.
in
Yeah.
South Bombay, and we all of us are from North Bombay. So we took the train, we went there, and so we decided we'll take the last train back home, which was at 12:45 at night. Okay, the last train back. And so I remember those were 6 boys, okay? 14 to 16. We were 4 boys, 17-year-olds, not too far away. All of us are dark skinned. I remember we walk to Churchgate station. We got off the taxi and we walked like in a dark alleyway to reach Churchgate station, which I didn't pay attention to at that time. But when I watched the show, I realized that if something had happened there, a murder, a rape, and the person was left there, I could very well have also been in the exact same place as them, and I would
So
not
it
have
could
had
just
the
be
benefit of
blamed
the
on.
doubt because that I'm light skinned. And I can see that this could be more of a boy thing and not a dark skin thing, and I get it, okay. But I
Yeah.
will not have the benefit of the doubt that if I walk in normal clothes without opening my mouth, people could very easily believe me to be, that like a not
That he's a
privileged
person of a lower
like we
class.
are. Yeah, they could very well imagine me to be a lower class or even
Yeah.
any person who's dark skinned, as a matter of fact. So the fact,
Yeah.
like when I saw the TV show, I was like, I need to be more careful the next time around when I'm walking in dark alleyways in the middle of the night, man.
Hmm.
So, like,
So
now that we are
like,
talking about like personal stories and anecdotes, Yuvansh, do you have anything to say about this? Anything that you have gone through?
Yeah, I have something like I feel like this will be really interesting to you, like for y'all. And I kind of realized this when I was like introspecting on the past and everything. So recently I went on an exchange for a year in Mexico, and I think I mentioned this before. And I remember that it was my first trip, and it was my first trip meeting all the exchange students. And I usually am not a person who is really shy. Oh fuck, I'm a person who's not really shy. I'm a person who likes talking and who's more extroverted compared to other people. But when I was on the first trip, I wasn't extroverted. I was a little shy and I was a little closed off. And it was just because I felt uncomfortable being around so many fair skinned or Caucasian people, or because even though I didn't know it, but it was like it was subconsciously drilled into me that if somebody is white, he's better than you. And for me to get over that subconsciously, it took me some time. Because as soon as I used to meet somebody of the from Mexico or from some other country, and the first thought that would go into my head was, okay, he's white. I need to be careful because I'm brown, and I need to give off a better impression, and he's better than me, so I need to really work on this first impression. But it's not like that because like they don't really care. They're not better than me. I'm better than some people. But it's just that it was just something that I was when I was thinking about it, I was like, damn, I had fallen victim to this colorist society
But
in India.
okay, so now over there, at least, there's definitely a difference of races over there, right? So I was talking like in our
Mhm.
country, like I was in the same school from playgroup to 10th grade.
We were
So
also there.
I, obviously,
Yeah,
I'm talking. So all three of us are in the same school from playgroup to 10th grade, right? And
Mhm.
what, I personally may not have a problem with it, but the temerity of a person, a light-skinned person, to call another person a kalie when he himself could have the personality of a boiled potato is just ridiculous to me. Like, what gives you the right to call someone
yeah,
kalia? And it's not like in humor, in jest, I get it, but
yeah.
so which is why I can take it. But
And it's never
a person who's
corrected.
lesser
It's never
confident, a
corrected.
person who's never corrected it, and a person who's lesser confident or is new to the school and just doesn't have as many friends, for in a way that is bullying to him, right? Like people
Yeah,
will not associate with him because of the stigma kivo that he's dark skinned. And I
So now
realize,
that
and I
now
feel
that you said this, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I just remember this one point. So if you remember both the shows, Chota Bheem and Doraemon, both of them,
oh shit.
the two characters who were like the
Oh my
most
god.
hated was Kalia, who was brown, and was Jian. I mean, nobody hated him, but he was like the most annoying one. I don't think
Yeah.
people would.
willing,
Okay,
yeah, yeah.
guys.
He was
Okay,
also
some
like brown.
context. Some context. These two are like really famous Indian cartoon shows, and
Yeah,
Kalia literally means blackie.
In
Like
yeah,
that was his
translation,
name.
in
yeah.
translation,
His
I
oh
name,
just
god.
his
remembered this now that
name
you
in
said
the
Kalia.
show was Blackie. Like,
And
and he was.
but to move on from this, I remember when I switched schools from, I was in the same school from playgroup to 10th grade. When I
Yeah,
switched schools, I walked into class and I sat down, and the teacher saw me in a certain way. I didn't really pay attention. I didn't put enough attention to it. And like I could see it in their eyes that the moment I spoke and they realized that
this guy's educated.
I may have a relatively more extensive vocabulary than other children who light skin or dark skin irrelevant. Like I could see their eyes go, oh, okay. Like they were not like, oh, ye kala hai, isko nahi milna chahiye, right? Like they didn't say that or they didn't intend it at all. But I could see it, like
Yeah,
it's just subconsciously drilled in the mind. Oh shit, okay, cool. Like
yeah.
I could
Like
see,
it's
like it
a
was,
slight surprise to them because it's.
it
I
was a
feel like
definite surprise.
they associate being uneducated or illiterate with
Yeah.
being dark skinned. And it's actually quite the opposite. When you're talking about dark skinned people, majority of the South Indians are dark skinned, but I think they have like 100% literacy rate or
100%
something.
literacy rate, yeah, 100% literacy rate.
And it's mind blowing because everybody like, oh, you're black, you don't know anything, chal nikal yahan se, get out, you'll never get a girl, you'll never get this. And it's quite opposite, you know.
I feel like it
I think it's a
starts
more,
It's
the moment you are born
yeah,
only. Like I remember, like as soon as a
yeah,
baby
fuck's
is
sake,
born,
I
like wow,
remember.
ye to kitni gori hai, which means like she's so
ah,
fair. What the hell is that?
Bro, I was a white kid. I was a fairly white kid. Like
I was a
I
fairly
was I
white kid, pun
was
intended.
yeah. Oh, my bad. But like I was a fairly light skinned guy, and what happened was that I was really heavy into cricket, and when you're playing cricket, you have to be out in the sun like full days on for like 1 day, 2 day, 3 day, 4 day, And I used to play for long. I think I played for like 4 5 years, and I got really tanned, and in the end of the day, the tan stuck. Sorry, what the fuck has happened to my English? Anyways, so I remember I came back one day, and I was just tanned. I was like the blackest kid on earth. For my grandma, for my grandma at least, like for my grandma. I came back home, and like the first thing she looked at me and she's like, "This is not my grandson. Oh my god!" And like the amount of horrible things she said to me that I didn't really digest was that like it just blew my mind because right now I'm at a phase of my life where if somebody says that to me, I'm like, shut the fuck up.
I mean, I know this is like
And
nothing compared to what happened with you, but like I just have like
and
a
no 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 no
tiny
no, but just
story.
let me finish.
Hmm.
It's fucked up because it's somebody that she loves so much. And I love my grandma with all my heart, but for her to say that, it just broke my heart. And I remember we were watching football once, and like Balotelli, like he's against racism and shit. It was so funny because like it was one time we saw Balotelli on the screen, and then she was like, "Who's this ape?" And I'm like, what the hell? Like, calm down. What are you talking about? He's just like another guy who wants to play football. Like,
Understood. Yeah. Meg, what were you
So
saying?
I was just saying, like, one this small thing that happened to me. So I went to Goa when I was like, I think 8 or 9 or something, and I went for like 10 days, and I was in the pool like the whole day for like 6 hours at a stretch. Like, I'm not even exaggerating. And then I used to, and so obviously I got really, really, really tan. Okay, and after I came back, I like all my friends, like, they started laughing at me. They were like, "Oh, tu itni kali ho gayi hai," which means like you've become so dark and stuff. And I felt so bad because I felt like they are like they like me lesser now that I'm like a little like a shade darker
Imagine
maybe. And I
so
got
now you
obsessed.
realize
And
what is
yeah,
yeah.
and I got obsessed, and then I started like typing all these tan removal remedies and all that, and I used to literally like make all those mixtures and scrub it. I'm not even kidding, like all of that on my face, and I used to cry to my mom. I used to be like,
yeah.
better with this, but she's like, you can go. It's just you just got tan,
Welcome to our
like,
life.
but like
But
it's
okay, so anyway, if to wrap this whole episode up, I
That's
feel
it?
no, yeah, I did. The time really went super fast.
yeah,
I
yeah.
also didn't realize.
Yeah, what the hell? I really enjoyed that
But
one.
yeah, but so to wrap this up, I mean, I just hope people realize that this is something that shouldn't be ignored or isn't something that just
Yeah.
like another thing that children are complaining about, young adults who are suddenly have this need for finding problems. This isn't that. And for a person that's experienced it myself, I just hope that in just the smallest way possible you all can make a change. It would not only like impact our
Yeah.
society, but then eventually when this becomes a global village and you all move across countries or continents, you all will respect other races or other colors of people. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, so
Like,
like,
I'm gonna say, I just want to say one last thing is
hmm,
that, like, our generation, like people our age, have this certain hypocrisy, and me too. I have been part of this hypocrisy vastly and greatly. Is that I preach, like, not me specifically, but this our generation, we preach like, oh, stop racism and all that shit, but we continue using the N word, and I do too sometimes. Like, I don't even realize it because I started using it often. And because of art pointing this out to me, I'm making a conscious effort to reduce saying it not and stop saying it finally, And there's always been this little bit of hypocrisy that people posting it on the stories and just being like, oh, justice for Freud, justice for this, that. And as soon as like everything's off, they go turn back and they're like, they just racially slur each other and just call each other names and call each other black, and it just, I don't like it at all, and I don't think anybody likes it.
Understood.
so I think in the end, like we can conclude by saying that colorism is an issue in India. Definitely, we have been dealing with it, and we will continue to
Yeah,
deal with it until somebody speaks up about it, which is why we spoke about it today. And I feel like people need to
yeah,
they need to stand on their feet and actually talk about it and actually draw attention to it and let people know that it's not okay to like treat people
yeah,
like that. So
yeah, not
thank
at
you
I
for
all.
just
watching.
hope you all
And we
have.
will we will love to
Thank
hear
you
your
for.
own experiences in the comments, and give your own opinion on the entire thing in the
Yes,
comments.
we hope this leads to a verbatim amongst us, at
Yeah, I
least us
hope this
youth.
starts a conversation.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much. And if you
Thank you
like the video, please like, and if you would appreciate if you would subscribe to the channel as well.
Yeah,
and
That'll
we're
we'll
make me
not
be
look
begging.
back.
super
Just
bad.
remember, we're not begging. Okay.
And
We're
we'll
not
be
begging.
back. And we'll be
Next
back.
Saturday.
Third time I'm saying it. Next Saturday with another episode of Down Syndrome. Bye, guys.
Yeah.
See you then.